Alex, disappointing result today in the FA Cup, losing 1-0 to Wales. How did you?
Very disappointed. More disappointed about the manner of the defeat, really. Me and Steve Jones had made the point beforehand. Games like this against a team like that, who are always going to come and make it hard for us and work hard, and typical cliche, but it was their cup final today. It's a big game. It's worth a few quid for the club. All the rest of it. We're the home team, and I wanted to make sure that we set the tempo and we worked hard to not let them into the game. And the exact words I used was they're going to get one chance in the game. And unfortunately that one chance came and they took that chance. It was the manner of our second half performance that disappointed me most, and it's the first time I've had to have possibly some sterner words in there to say I wasn't happy with that at all. There's just a few individuals who were letting things go by a little bit too easy, and I was frustrated at that. Myself and Steve certainly don't want to be on the pitch to try and make a difference, but we just felt that that something had to give, and it wasn't. You can say as much as possible. There was a few decisions that didn't go our way, possibly. Maybe I should have had a penalty or two, but realistically, second half performance, we didn't test their goalkeeper enough, and it was the manner in which we sort of laid down a little bit. It frustrated me hugely.
Yeah, we were finding it very difficult to break them down. I don't think we really tested their keeper enough. I don't know if you agree, but for the second game running, they've had a commanding centre half who's won everything up top.
Yeah.
And we were pumping the balls to him.
Yeah, I mean, I made the point. The team selection was difficult for me today because I could have changed things around. Obviously, Jake Lee, by trade is a centre forward anyway. It would have been easy for me to put him up front, but we chose not to. We chose to keep a settled back four and midfield four again, and for 70% of the game that was no problem. It was just in the final third we lacked that little bit of dominance and a little bit of nous, really, and that's partly down to me and Steve and Dean as a coaching group and the team we picked. Just seeing if against a team like that, Elliot and Stewart could get something out of them. I'd said before the game we had to keep the ball on the floor because we've got two 19-year-old centre forwards who are not the tallest, and aerial balls aren't their strong point. But unfortunately, first off I felt we got a little bit of quality into them, but again really didn't sort of take command of the next bit really, and getting the shot away or getting the cross in that would cause some damage. We had glimpses of it, but the glimpses aren't enough in an FA Cup game like that for me.
No, they really did do a smashing grab, and fair play to them, and all the best to them for the next round. How are you going to pick the boys up from that for our next league match?
It's difficult because I said that in the dressing room. That was one of my words afterwards, was the fact that after something like that, that's a bit of pill to swallow really, and the fact of being beat 1-0 in the manner we got defeated. And I went back to the Stourport game. I had no problem with the Stourport game, because we controlled the game, and we gifted them a goal, and I've got no problem with that.
A team we should have beaten.
Certainly.
On our chat, the way we were playing.
Yeah, certainly. And yet again today, that was a real chance for us. And some of the lads in there don't realise what the FA Cup can possibly do. They've not had that. They've not tasted that little bit of joy and fulfilment in that competition, and that's what frustrated me and Steve, especially having been there and done it, the pair of us. And there's a couple in there who've experienced it, but to get on a run and to go to Chippenham, and that would have been a great day out, and we could have really given it a good go, and been the flip side, been almost like Wells City were today here. So that's frustrating, but picking them up, it's my job this week to Tuesday, Thursday, to get focused again for Didcot, and it's typical, get back to the bread and butter, but that's exactly what we have to do. It's a shame in a way there's not a game midweek, because that's it's always nice to get a rubbish one out of the system. And like I say, I don't say we were rubbish, but there were times where I just thought we needed a little bit more nous. Thankfully, I've signed James Vachese now, so that will give us a little bit of a different option up front. I know what James can give us. His work rate is phenomenal, and it'll just be a presence for those times when 10-15 minutes in a game, when you're possibly up against it, he can just do something that not many others can. And like I say, if I can get the lads playing around him, obviously get Carl Brown back. I know Carl's out for 3 games now. We lose Lee Smith for a game next Saturday, but we get John Crowfoot back. So, it swings and roundabouts, and it's just a case of keeping the lads together, keeping them upbeat, and realising, we have got a real job to do. And it's like I said in the dressing room to the lads, what are we going to do out of the season now? Because the FA Cup's gone suddenly, and that's very early in the season. We've now got the league, and we've got the trophy to try and do a little bit in, and it's going to be difficult, but with the sort of the ingredients and the boys we've got in there, we should be okay. It's just a case of being upbeat and being positive about Didcot here next Saturday, and making sure we're ready for that. And hopefully, you know, I wouldn't say it was a tirade from me, but a bit of a loud exchange of words from me and from Jonah, and the frustration showed from our point of view, and hopefully I'm just looking for a reaction now. From those players, you know, as a group of players, because I'm not going outside of that to bring too many more in. Obviously, James is signed on Thursday night, but you know, I'm not. You know, that's the squad we're dealing with, and I've got faith in them. But they need to repay a bit of that now by putting in a performance that justifies the quality we've got, because today certainly wasn't that.
James Achese, that's a great signing. Nice to see him back. When do you think he'll be ready to play for the first team?
Well, thankfully for me, James has kept himself fit. He plays quite a lot of squash anyway, and he looks as fit as he was when he was playing here full time. So right. I'm quite pleased. He trained on Thursday night, and that was absolutely fine. He's in again next week with us, and hopefully he'll be ready for selection on next Saturday.
Oh, great!
So that'll be great, because I think, you know, with James, I know what I get, and it's games that he needs, and I think, you know, there's no point me keeping him for 20 minutes and using him in fits and starts. It'll be a blast from the start, and you know, if I get 45 minutes out of him, great. If I get any more than that, it'd be a bonus. Especially in the first instance, but I think from what you've seen today, you know, no disrespect to Elliot and Stu, but just that extra little bit of, to take a little bit of, you know, the load off up front would help us immensely, and I think James will bring that to the squad. Yeah,
I think we need somebody who, you know, when the ball comes up, it doesn't come straight back, and
yeah.
no type of players who feed off larger players rather than
that's right. And I think today, you know, it was an experiment on behalf of me and Steve, and maybe one that's turned a little bit wrong, but I don't think, again, because of what we produced, we kept the ball really well for periods of time, but the difficult part was getting that little final ball through, and that was everywhere. You know, that was players with quality like Mike Jackson, Lee Smith, Lee Davis, Warren. We didn't really get that last final ball that made a difference to Elliot and Stu and to others in the squad.
One last point, Sam Avery, he's just gone off to hospital. With an injury to his leg. Do we know any more than that at this stage?
No, not really. Sam went down under a challenge, I think, and couldn't feel the bottom half of his right leg just afterwards. So yeah, straight away our physio was onto it. The ambulance boys came into the dressing room. Sam will run through a bit wall for the club and for me, and you know when somebody like Sam's injured because he doesn't get up, but he didn't have any feeling in his lower leg, so it's a little bit of a worry until he gets to hospital and possibly gets an X-ray. We won't know anymore, but potentially, you know, it could be broken. If not, you know, hopefully it's just some bruising, touch wood. Again, it's disappointing for Sam because he's just getting back into the swing of things, you know, having his trial at Forest Green. He's just getting fit again, and that'll set him back a bit if that's the case, but I'm hopeful, but again, won't know any more till he's come back from the hospital. But of course now, you know, Mark's got sent off today as well, so that's another player I'll miss for a game. So it's just, this game is full of swings and roundabouts in it, but it's just a case of trying to stay focused on our job with the 14-15 we can pick from, and hopefully, I mean, lads like Pritch and to some degree Ashley Caldwell can learn from today, and hopefully make sure that, you know, they can take the positives out of that and make sure that doesn't happen again, because some of that left a bit of taste in my mouth, and the fact that the manner in which we went about our business later on in the game.